I can't believe I'm going to show y'all this, but this is my messy craft room. As you can see, I have items sitting all over the floor that don't have a home. My craft table is jam-packed full of bins and drop cords all over the floor for my lighting, camera, and I have a monitor sitting on top of a small end table, which helps me to keep everything in frame. I do have this nice large cabinet that I've had for many years, and the right-hand side stays fairly organized with all of my paints and glues. But the left-hand side is very unorganized and bursting at the seams. This cubby system in the back I purchased from Walmart. It's a great way to get organized, but each of the bins are full and very unorganized, and half the time I don't even know what I have. I'm going to get all of this organized, and I thought maybe someone would enjoy watching this and maybe get a little bit of inspiration. You don't have to purchase fancy cabinets or furniture to organize your space, but it certainly does help to have some extra storage. And of course, I like to do that on a budget. I'll show you what I bought for this half wall here shortly. I have tons of totes that need to be put in the attic, items that I have recently purchased that I have not put away, that just don't have a home yet. And I also have this entertainment center for my Cricut supplies and a plastic storage bin that I use for my artificial florals and greenery. I'm definitely going to get this organized too. Sometimes life just gets busy after finishing a project. I just push everything to the side and either start on the next project or just don't take the time to clean up the area once I'm finished. I hope to get everything organized because I'm finding it very hard to concentrate. I hope that it will become a clutter and stress-free space. This will take me a couple of days to do because I'm going to do this in sections at a time, and it's going to look way worse before it gets any better. I hope to inspire you and perhaps give you some new tips and tricks along the way. So let's do this. I knew I was going to need a little bit more storage, and to accomplish that on a budget, I purchased 2 of these metal and fabric storage units at Big Lots for $29.99 a piece. But if you have an old dresser that you're not using, that would work perfect too. I just found this to be a very affordable option. Big Lots did have a couple of different colors for the fabric bins as well as natural wood tops. I chose to go with the white frame and the gray drawers because it kind of matches my cubby system. If you can't find these in your local Big Lots, I'm going to leave a link to a similar item on Amazon in my description box below, and I'll also have that listed in my Amazon store. They were very easy to put together. They took about 15 minutes for each unit, and all of the tools came with it. I originally thought both of them were the same size, but it turns out one's a little bit shorter than the other one with 2 smaller fabric bins at the top, but that's quite all right. I think it will look just fine together. It has a nice faux wood grain finish on the top, and these bins are very, very sturdy. Now I have to make room for these units. I want to place them against the half wall, so I need to move all of these totes to the attic, and I always like to dust and vacuum an area before I'm going to put a piece of furniture there, just to make sure it's clean. The way I like to organize is to pull things out to see exactly what I have and purge things so I can throw away things that I don't need. For example, these wood pieces. I have a ton of them that I cut off of paint sticks, and I always keep them. I have way too many, so I need to go through these and throw away a lot of them. I'm also going to organize all of my craft sticks, dowels, and of course, I'm going to label everything so I know exactly where it goes. Now that it's nice and organized, I have all of my craft sticks together, my dowels together, and I use some of Dollar Tree's wire bins. They fit perfectly inside of this drawer. Don't skip out on the garden section of Dollar Tree because some of their containers are perfect for storage. I used that for some of those small paint sticks. I'm using 2 of the wooden crates to organize some of these smaller wood items. I used some of Dollar Tree's self-adhesive labels for each of the bins. However, I did have to go back and add some double-sided sticky tape because it did not want to stick to these fabric bins. And I think eventually I'll come back with some tags and just add that with some twine on the handles. A great way to create a divider for your drawer is to cut some foam board. This will give you some separation and you'll be able to see exactly what you have. Storing items vertically is also an easy way for you to flip through them to see exactly what you have instead of stacking them on top of one another and then having to dig through the bins to find what you're looking for. When I pulled everything out on the floor, that also included all of the items that I had in my cube units. So once I had everything purged, organized, and then I labeled each of the bins, I was able to place everything in separate bins, and I actually even have a couple of empty ones. A great way to store small bottles of paint is by using a spice rack. And this one's on like a Lazy Susan. This is just one I've had for many years. You can also use the wooden Lazy Susan from Dollar Tree that you find in their plus section to hold some of the larger paints, glues, and cleaning supplies. For really small items, I like to use these small plastic drawer units. You can find these at Dollar General or Walmart, and they're just a great way to keep things like floral wire, mini pliers, smaller items that really don't have a home. You can also use some thrifted baskets for storage. I have this rolling cart, and my idea was to place these Dollar Tree bins in there, not only for a pop of color, but to be able to put the supplies for each of my projects. This will make it much easier for me to roll the cart to my table and craft all of my projects. Since I typically make about 4 projects per video, I think this is going to work out perfectly. This colorful drawer system came from Walmart last year. I'll see if I can find a link for that or maybe something similar on Amazon for you guys. The drawers are not that deep, but they're perfect for smaller items like glitter, paper flowers. You can organize these by season because of the colors of the drawer. I have mine lined up so that you could have the purple, green, orange, and red representing spring, summer, fall, and winter. This would also be a great way to organize scrapbook paper if you have a lot of that. I'm using a metal caddy with dividers on the top to separate my larger brushes from my medium and small brushes, and then the brushes that I use for stenciling and dry brushing. This will make it so much easier for me to find the brushes that I need. This mini shelf unit I built last year, and I'll try to have that video linked in my description box below. It holds all of the paints that I use most often. On the side of my craft table, I added a very inexpensive curtain rod because I like to use silicone mats. This is a great way to drape them over, and they won't get creased up from being folded and put away. But if you don't use silicone mats, you could also put S-hooks on here and add some tools to the side of your craft table, and that would be another option. I have a shelf under my craft table, and I like to keep my most used items that I typically use for every project handy, and these Dollar Tree plastic bins are perfect for that. To eliminate all of the drop cords that I was using and going across the floor, I purchased this surge protector from Amazon, and I will have that linked in my description box as well as my Amazon store if you're interested in that. It has 3 outlets on each section, and it has 4 sections, each with their own power button. It also has a nightlight at the top and USB ports on the side and a couple of other ports. I'm not quite sure, but I'll have that linked so you can check that out. This really did eliminate a lot of the cords that I had running across the floor, so now it's just one single cord going to the outlet. And I can have all of my lights, camera, and monitor plugged up to the surge protector in one central location. I didn't show you my desk area before because it wasn't in that bad a shape. I typically keep that fairly clean. This is where I do all of my editing, but I also bought a surge protector just like that for the desk area so I can keep all of my electronics in one location. And this is just a close-up view of that. Utilizing wall space is another great option for storage. Here I used one of Dollar Tree's wire storage bins and just to store some of my office supplies. I have this organizer that I made recently sitting right next to my desk, so it's very easy for me to find the things that I need. A separate area that I have contains these plastic bins that I keep all of my artificial greenery and florals in, alongside an entertainment center that houses most of my Cricut items. It is very unorganized. I'm going to go through each of these bins, purge and reorganize things, as well as use some of that wall space to create some vertical storage. So this is what I mean by doing sections at a time. I did not try to completely redo my craft room at one time. I just did certain sections at a time. This helps me from getting overwhelmed or distracted. I attached an inexpensive curtain rod to the wall to add some of my larger spools of ribbon. This would just make it easier for me to know exactly what I have and to help utilize this space. This is how the area turned out. Using the plastic drawers, I reorganized all of my florals by season, and I have a separate drawer for my greenery, and the top drawer contains wreath forms. All of my Cricut supplies are now organized, and I know exactly where everything is. The curtain rod is going to work perfect for all of my ribbon. I can now easily see everything that I have. And for the smaller ones that wouldn't fit, or maybe I just didn't have room for, I placed in this organizer, and I believe this came from Aldi. I also have my scissors and Scotch tape so I can come over, cut whatever ribbon I need off, and I'm using the Scotch tape for the rolls that have already been open. This will help to keep them from unraveling. I can cut the ribbon I need, place a piece of Scotch tape on there, and it's going to keep everything nice, pretty, and clean. I used the Dollar Tree plastic hooks on the wall to hang up the Cricut mats. I had another one for my cutting mat, but it was too heavy and it fell off. So I added just a regular hook in the wall and was able to put my cutting mat as well as these large wire wreath forms that would not fit in the top drawer of my plastic bin. I placed this large basket on the chair so that I could put some of my larger items in that wouldn't fit anywhere else. But it will also be perfect for when I'm making a project with the Cricut. I could come over, grab the supplies that I need, put them in the basket, and take them back to my craft table. This is going to make cleanup so much easier. Let's take a look back at what the area looked like before, as well as my crafting area versus what it looks like now. I hope you enjoyed today's video, maybe found some new tips and tricks. Leave me your tips and tricks in the comments on how you keep your space organized. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I'll see you guys next time.